So I did an experiment on how conditions affect fishing line strength, and to collect the data, I had to make 5 samples per condition per type of line. Each sample was 6 feet long. The types of line used were fluorocarbon monofilament, and the data collected was the breaking strength. So 10 samples were tested, 5 per type of line, right off the spool. 10 samples were put in the freezer for 7 days, then tested for breaking strength. 10 samples were placed inside a bag and kept indoors for 7 days, then tested for breaking strength. 10 samples were kept taped to a board outside in a sunny spot for 7 days and then tested. And also 10 samples were put in a minnow bucket and placed in a pond outdoors for 7 days and then tested for breaking strength. During the project, there were a few roadblocks, including there was a small sharp ring that was on the bottom of the scale, and the sharp spot on the ring had to be kept away from the line so it didn't tear the line. And then to have the camera stay on the tripod was very difficult. And to keep the line from falling out of your hands and getting lost was also another problem. And finally, there was not really any preparation for weather conditions at all, so the weather conditions should probably have been checked. So the data collected shows that the fluorocarbon had a higher overall average than the monofilament. The fluorocarbon's average was 1.86 and the monofilament was 1.59 kilograms. The range for monofilament was 1.59 kilograms. The range for fluorocarbon was 1.86 kilograms. So unlike the monofilament with a significant increase in the outdoor condition, fluorocarbon had a significant decrease in the outdoor condition. Other than that, there were a lot of just similar averages across the board for both types of line. The only differences were in the outdoor condition. The hypothesis is partially correct, but the data was incorrect because the research shows that monofilament had a significant increase in sunlight when the information collected tells me that it would have a significant decrease. So the experiment, if it was done again, it would have to be on a much larger scale, which means there would be more samples per condition and more types of line and brands tested. The force should be applied slower than it was because the scale can't pick it up very quickly, and the breaking strength will be inaccurate if the force is applied too quickly. The number of lines in total should be increased because the amount of line used was more than I needed, so I could have just used 3-foot samples instead of 6-foot samples and had double the amount of samples. And the weather conditions should be checked before the experiment started.